In March 1968, a quiet stretch of grazing land in Skull Valley, Utah, became the center of one of the most controversial military testing incidents in American history. Ranchers began finding sheep dead across miles of open range, not dozens, thousands. By the final count, roughly 6,000 sheep had died. The valley was about 27 miles from Dugway Proving Ground, a vast US Army testing facility where chemical and biological agents were studied under controlled conditions. And just days earlier, a test had taken place. On March 13, 1968, an F-4 Phantom jet participated in a planned open-air dispersal test involving VX nerve agent, one of the most potent chemical agents ever developed. According to later Army documentation, part of the test material was released at a higher altitude than intended during the aircraft's climb. Weather conditions that day included shifting winds. Those winds may have carried microscopic droplets beyond the intended test zone. Days later, sheep in Skull Valley began collapsing. Reports from veterinarians and ranchers described animals unable to stand, refusing to eat, and suffering visible distress. Many died quickly. Others lingered before being euthanized. The scale of the loss devastated local families. Sheep were not just livestock, but livelihood. Initially, Dugway officials denied that nerve agent testing had occurred in the immediate lead-up to the die-off. Alternative causes were suggested, but over time, declassified Army reports acknowledged that VX nerve agent had been dispersed and that environmental samples were consistent with exposure. In 1978, previously classified documentation pointed toward VX as the most probable cause of the sheep deaths. The Army later compensated ranchers, paying over $1 million in damages. It's also true that, during the years of debate, some observers noted details that raised questions. Some surviving sheep reportedly showed signs of internal hemorrhaging. Some animals appeared to breathe normally before collapsing. And there were reports that other livestock in the region, such as cattle or horses, were not found dead in similar numbers. Those details were cited by some as inconsistencies with textbook nerve agent poisoning. However, toxicologists have noted that species sensitivity varies significantly in grazing behavior, particularly sheep feeding low to the ground, may have increased exposure risk if droplets settled on vegetation. The later environmental findings and wind pattern analysis ultimately align most closely with the VX dispersal scenario. Beyond Skull Valley, the incident fueled public concern about open-air chemical testing in the United States. Within a year, in 1969, President Nixon announced the termination of the US Offensive Biological Weapons Program and sharply restricted open-air testing. While Dugway was not the sole factor, the sheep deaths became a powerful symbol in the debate over chemical weapons oversight. The Army never formally accepted liability for the incident. The tragedy contributed to changes in how such substances were handled, politically and legally, and helped shape public skepticism about secretive weapons testing programs. What makes the Dugway sheep incident striking is not just the scale of loss, but the way it exposed a hidden process. A test conducted far from sight, a result carried on the wind, and thousands of animals caught between what was planned and what was unintentional. Whether the incident is seen mainly as a tragic accident of testing, a failure of oversight, or a cautionary moment in military history, the memory of that silent valley of sheep has become a concrete reminder of how densely the ordinary and the extraordinary can intersect.